Hello everyone, thanks for stopping by. In this video, it is my hope I solved one of your worries when working with Excel files. We've all seen this dialog box, right? Have you ever accidentally missed it and lost your work? In the next few minutes, without any programming knowledge needed, I'm going to show you how you can rid yourself of that dialog box and automatically save your work and even versionize it, if that's a word. So here we go. Hey guys, have you ever done this? Been working on a workbook diligently, right? And you're doing all this editing. Right? And you've done that. And then you go to exit out of this thing and you say, hey, I got to get going. And you exit out. It comes up and says, hey, do you want to save it? And you accidentally, for whatever reason, you don't hit the right button and you don't save it. Boom, you just lost a lot of time and effort. The reason I bring this up is because this recently happened to me where I put a lot of time and effort into a workbook, closed it, and somehow did not save it. Cost me a lot of time, and so I was wondering, is there a way to automatically save the workbook when I exit just to be safe? And lo and behold, with some research, I found out a way to do it. And what's awesome, guys, about this is that it requires really no programming at all. It's like 3 lines of text, and that is it. And you can just copy and paste it out of the description area down below. Check this out with me. Now, here's what we got to do this, though. Follow along with me. First, we have to make sure that the workbook handles macros. So if it's an XLSX extension, it has to be an XLSM. So if you go up to File, choose Save As, and change this from XLSX to XLSM, so it's a macro-enabled workbook. You can keep the same name. I've already done this, so it's going to say, hey, it already exists. I'm going to click Save, and I'm going to overwrite that file. Okay. The next thing we got to do is put this little bit of code into the VBA environment, and that's real easy to do. If you have your developer tab already available, go ahead and click on Visual Basic. If you don't, you can get to it also easily by just hitting Alt F11, and it goes into it. Now, over on the left-hand side, there might be some objects over here. Find your file name. I have population estimates _ grow. I'm going to click on the plus sign if yours isn't already expanded, and then under Microsoft Excel objects, I'll click on the plus sign, and this has to go into the workbook, not the sheet, not the module, but the worksheet. So double click on this workbook, and it comes up with this area to put in code, and we're simply going to type in, well, actually I'm just going to copy it to make sure I do it correctly, and you'll see how easy this code is because you're going to do the same thing, just copy it. I'm going to put in this code, and it says, hey, if this workbook before close, me is a self-evident or self-calling, and if it's saved equals false, then save it. That's all it's doing. Simple as that. And we can go ahead and come out of there. Then we can go back and do our change, and equals F3 minus E3 divided by E3 percentage. And there we go. And now when we go to exit, it does not ask you to save it. Kind of scary to a degree. But let's go ahead and open this up, and we'll see if the changes actually stay there. So there's my XLSM file. And boom, there it is. Did not have to manually save that. So I can do it again here. Let's say I'm just going to change that column to a yellow color, and I'm going to exit out. No requirement to save. Open it back up, and we'll see if it's there. And there it is. So it automatically saved it for you. Very, very, very cool. So now you don't have to worry about saving it on exit. Now I know that if you use OneDrive or some folders on the network, it may automatically save these for you, but this is for your own self. This is for your own computer. They'll automatically save it and keep you from maybe running that error that I ran into the other night. Now, here's another question I had, is that I remember that I've exited out of an application or a file because I made changes, there was errors or something didn't go right, whatever the reason is, and I wanted to exit out and not save. So then I thought, well, what if we could then increment those changes or keep track of those changes? Every time we exited it, saved it, and we could go back to that. So we can actually exit out, it saves it as a new version, but you want to go back to the previous version. Can you do that? And the answer is yes. I found some code that automatically versionizes your savings or your exit. It's actually on exit. So again, I'm not going to go through the code. It's a copy. What's really nice about this is just a copy and paste. You don't have to go through and invent this. Hang there with me for a second. Let me bring it in and we'll walk through it real quick. Okay, so what I did is I copied the text or the code that I found. You don't have to do any editing to this at all. Well, okay, I lied a little bit. Maybe a little bit of editing. So what I want to do is call this function save new version. This save new version is going to go down through this code and it's going to call this function to test whether or not the file exists, because if the file exists, then it's going to give it a version. If it doesn't exist, then it's going to just save it. But we're going to also change this, because this just says change it. There's no code in that at all. So I'm going to actually comment that out with an apostrophe in front of that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say call and the name of the function. I'm not changing anything, and I'm actually going to copy it. It gives me an error because I didn't finish it off. Let me just copy this here. And check this out. So it says call that function when I go to exit. Then it's going to do its check. So check. So let's see if that works. Again, make sure it's an XLSM extension on there. I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to put in another growth. So we're going to go G3, oops, did it again. G3 minus F3 divided by F3 percentage. There we go. Anyway, so there's my change. I'm going to exit out. Now there's a message box that comes up, and I like this message box. You can eliminate it yourself, and I'll show you how if you haven't done VBA before. So I'm going to exit. And it says, yeah, hey, look, you already have 2 other versions, so we're going to save it in version 3. Click OK, automatically saves it with extension version 3. Now, something that is a little different in regards to this version change is that notice that that version is not here. It didn't save it in your recent files, but it is in the folder. So if we open the file location, and you go in there, and there is that file number 3 with extension 3, or not extension, but version 3 on it. Open that up. Come in here, make another change. Right? We're going to exit out. It says version 4. So you can see how that works. So that way, if you need to go back to a previous version, it's real simple and easy to do. Well, I hope you can. This is advantageous. Oh, let me show you the commenting out of that message box if you want to. If you're not a VBA person, let's go into there real quick. So in your code, if you scroll down, almost down here at the bottom, it says new version saved, and it has a message box, new file version, and this tells you that it was saved in a new version. You may want to keep that just so you know, but you can go ahead and just put an apostrophe in front of that, and it turns it green in the editor, and that just says, hey, we're not going to display that. So when you go and you do your changes again, and you exit out, it's simply not going to show you that it's in there. But when we go back into Excel, so that should be, I believe, version 5, right? So we go into, oh, there's, see, we brought that in, so that's there. But we're going to open the file location, and there's version 5. Open that, and there's our changes. And then we can go back to version 4 and 3 and so on. Anyway, I hope that you use this and you find this advantageous. I think it's just a wonderful thing, and I'm glad it was so simple and did not have to go in and edit the code, did not have to rewrite it, did not have to adapt it to my environment. It simply worked. And I hope it does the same for you. Well, that was fun. Do you think you can use this, even if you've never worked in the VBA environment before? I sure hope you do, and I hope you can. My goal is to provide you with tips, tricks that are usable for you today, solve problems you might have right now. If you leave me a comment to whether you like the information in the video, and if you are wondering whether a particular application can do something, throw it in the comment. I'd be glad to see if I can possibly provide you with some help. Until next time, we'll see you.